buddy. Okay, we better get going. Holy smokes, it's 12:49. Well, hopefully this will give us a better view. What I mean by that is there's no glass in front of it that creates that glare, and you know, that windshield effect on the camera. I just hope it doesn't fall off. Oh, holy smokies. That was bad. Still got 27 miles to go. I've often wondered of making a little box that I could put a camera in and put that box outside with and that box, the glass would have its own wiper blade. I also wondered what would happen if I was to put a saran wrap on the lens. By the way, this camera does not have it doesn't have that, it's bare camera outside, bare lens, no protective shields of any kind. It's not inside of a case. One of the reasons why I don't like that case thing is you can't plug your microphone in there. Yeah, I know you could buy that camera cover, but I thought maybe a saran wrap, you stretch that saran wrap tight enough, I think it'll be clear. Enjoy the ride. I'm gonna stuff my face with some grub. I'm hungry.
Main Street and Houston Avenue in Dallas, Texas. November the 23rd, 1963, you would have seen President John F. Kennedy's motorcade coming straight at you as these cars are. The motorcade, of course, would have made a right-hand turn on Houston, just as our camera is doing. The motorcade would then go down one block to Elm Street and make a left, right in front of the building on your left that is actually the Texas State Book Depository. This is the way it looked in 1963. If you'd looked up at the 6th floor window, you might have seen someone waiting to assassinate the president. And if you had been an assassin, this is what you would have seen. You'd been waiting for the presidential motorcade to come towards you down Houston Avenue and wait for it to make a left-hand turn on Elm Street, right in front of the book depository. The best position for a shot would be while the president's motorcade was facing you. However, the shooter didn't do that. He waited until he made a left-hand turn and had his back to the shooter. Now that's probably because the chances of being spotted was greater from that angle. We're now inside the book depository. People come out this door going to stand and wait for the president so that they could wave at him and his wife as they passed by. The streets were covered with people, and lots of people come right out this door. The motorcade would be coming straight at us down Houston and making a left-hand turn and then going like this car is going now. There's also this little side street in front of the book depository here. Now this goes back to a parking lot behind the building and also to the train lot. Now of course after the shooting took place, people would be running and hollering and excited, and people would be screaming that the president had been shot, and there'd be a lot of confusion. Actually, a photograph was taken of a man standing on these steps that they thought and looked a whole lot like Lee Harvey Oswald. However, later on it was proven not to be true. This is the way it looked inside the 6th floor shooter's nest. 6th floor was covered and stacked with boxes. As a matter of fact, they found the supposedly shooter's rifle was hid behind a stack of boxes. Now we're down a little bit further on Elm Street, looking back towards the book depository. There's people on both sides of this street now, standing in the grass. And if you look up and notice the 6th floor window, you can see that there was almost a straight shot towards the motorcade. And keep in mind that the trees that you're seeing, there's actually still a straight shot, but the trees that you're seeing was even smaller then than they are now. Some theorists think that there was two shooters, one in the book depository and one in the building next to the right, because they believe there were several shots fired, and even one or two may have missed or hit the street sidewalk. Now this X in the middle of the street here that you're looking at, that was actually supposed to be the first shot that the president was hit, that went through his throat. They may have possibly been a first shot that missed or hit the pavement. And then keep in mind that the motorcade didn't speed up. They was going really slow so everybody could wave at the president. The second shot and the fatal headshot is where this man is standing there on that X. Now if you look a little bit further down, you'll see a manhole and a drainage line. And actually this drainage line looked to me like it was on a straight shot to the second spot where the president was shot. And this pavement has been repaved. The street had been 2 or 3 times since '63, which made the drainage hole look a lot smaller than it actually was at that time. And actually it's big enough for a man to crawl in there and have plenty of room. And there's also an exit way through the sewer tunnels that leads out in several different directions. Now this is the Grassy knoll. And this is the wooden fence that a lot of people claim that they believe that a shooter was behind the fence and shot, and a lot of people standing on the railroad bridge to your left, you can barely see the edge of it. When they heard the noise, they seen a puff of smoke come, and it sort of lingered among the bushes and the trees. Now this white building of columns looks like a memorial, but it was also here when the president was assassinated or shot, because it was actually built in the 1930s by the WPA. Now this is the way it looked in '63, and this is the way it looks today. Now the president's motorcade, of course, was going a lot slower than those cars, and the first shot now is where the woman is standing in the middle of the street there. Now we're a little bit further down Elm Street, and you can see over to the left along the side of the street, or the sidewalk, the manhole cover, and the man in the drain. And you could actually get in there and actually fire a shot out of the drainage ditch without sticking the barrel of the gun outside where anybody would see it. The only thing with that theory is, the only problem is you would have to have other shooters. Shots would have to be coming from different directions, so it would cause confusion. But if it wouldn't, chances are they might be able to pinpoint you. See the windows to the building to the right? That is just as good a place, if not even better, than the book depository for a sniper. Now I'm fixing to pan over to this building that's fixing to be, that's right behind the American flag there. See the building straight ahead? That's actually the Dallas County Jail, Dallas County building. That's the building that they were transferring Lee Harvey Oswald to. They was taking him out of the city jail and bringing him to the county jail. The ironic thing about it is that look how close it is to the book depository and to the assassination site, and also those white columns where the American flag is flying. That was there at that time. Very little change. The only change that I could see was the trees are bigger and the pavement has been resurfaced several times. And now we're on top of what they call the Grassy knoll. And this is the wooden fence, supposedly where several people seen the shooters from. Now the slants that's gone out of this fence, of course it was a solid fence at that time. This is just time and weather has caused these slats to become missing. But you can see the overhead bridge where there was people lined up on top of that underpass. And actually the motorcade was first planned to go straight down the main street and miss this part, but they changed it within about a 24-hour period. And Lee Harvey Oswald had only been working at the book depository for about a month when this happened. Now this is where the some of the shooters, people say, was standing when the president was assassinated. Now, this is the parking lot. And see this little building straight ahead there? There was a railroad building that some of the witnesses for the Warren Commission testified that they could look over here and they didn't see anything. Now, everybody knows about the three tramps supposedly that they got out of boxcars. Well, this is the train track that they talk about. They kept those three men for about 3 or 4 days and then finally released them. They decided that they actually were tramps and they didn't really have anything to do with the assassination. Now if you look, you'll probably see on these little arrows on top of the fence, see that one right there is colored? They believe that this might have been where one of the shooters was standing. You can see the X down there on that was the fatal shot. On the 22nd of November each year, a lot of the people who actually witnessed the shootings comes back to this place here just to talk to the people who might be interested in it. So if you're going to visit, the 22nd of November is the perfect day. And I talked to a man while I was there. This man at the end of the fence, standing down there talking to those people. He actually was here on the day of the assassination, and his picture was actually in the paper. And he said that he was standing down this hill here, and that shots came over his shoulder. Now the president's motorcade would have pulled out here and made a left-hand turn, and from this point they would have followed exactly the way we are. The first shot would have been right here, and the second shot is coming up right here. And you can see there would be lots of people standing on the underpass here. The motorcade didn't speed up until the second shot. They didn't realize what had happened, and then of course they speeded up, took off heading for Parkland Hospital. Of course, when they arrived at the hospital, there was a lot of confusion, and nobody really knew what had taken place. And this is a picture of Oswald and his wife, Marina. We're now on our way to Fort Worth to see if we can locate the grave of Lee Harvey Oswald. This is the Shannon Rose Hill Cemetery, and it's located at 7310 East Lancaster Avenue in Fort Worth. We're now looking for his grave. When we located his grave, it was just a flat stone with one word wrote on it: Oswald. This is at the burial site. On the left is Oswald's wife, Marina. His mother is on the right, and his brother is in the middle. Two days after Oswald was arrested, he was killed by Jack Ruby while being transferred from the city jail to the county jail. They took Oswald to the Parkland Hospital, the same hospital that 2 days earlier they'd taken President Kennedy. And when Ruby was asked why he shot Oswald, he stated that he didn't want Mrs. Kennedy to go through the ordeal of having to come back and testify in court. Now, although I don't much believe in conspiracies, if everybody gave an excuse like that, I might.
I bet you he was part of it.
Oswald was shot with a .38 Colt Cobra. I believe it was only natural for Bobby Kennedy to want to know if there was anyone else involved in the killing of Jack. If there was a conspiracy, there's only two positions in our government that's powerful enough to investigate something of this magnitude. You either had to be the President of the United States or you had to be the Attorney General. Now, Bobby was the Attorney General at the time, but he was quickly replaced by President Johnson, as which is customary. It looks like he was trying hard to become president. It's very unusual for someone to try and take a party nomination away from a sitting president, but it looked like he was going to do it. And he himself was assassinated by a lone gunman. Now, I don't think there was any doubt that Teddy, the younger of the brothers, certainly wanted to know who might have killed his two brothers. If there was a conspiracy killing two brothers, the nation probably wouldn't take that very lightly and might get desperately suspicious. But it was certainly convenient that Teddy makes a wrong turn and runs his car into a lake and killed a young girl, Mary Jo Kopechne, and also Teddy's chances of ever becoming president. There were several hours that was not fully explained that Teddy was missing. And it makes you wonder if somebody wasn't trying to take him and make a point. Anyway, conspiracy or not, Oswald certainly left a lot of unanswered questions.
And if that was me, I certainly would go back in history, not to save the president, but to find out who really did it. Put multiple cameras at suspected places where supposedly the shots came from. Yeah, it looks like I'm the only one here. The time is 1:18. Let's see how fast this guy's gonna unload us. Catch you guys later. Peace.